I would like to speak a few words in addition to this question. 就是由于我们两个国家处于不同的地理位置，相距万里，那么有不同的历史文化传统，不同的经济发展水平，有不同的价值观念。那么因此，我认为在有些问题上存在着不同的认识，这个很自然。
Our two countries have different geographical locations, and we are also thousands of miles apart geographically. We also have different historic and cultural tradition, different level of economic development, and different values. Therefore, I believe it is just natural for our two countries to hold different views on some issues.
因为我们这个世界已经快要到20世纪末。就要进入到下一个世界，科学技术如果由牛的那个时代来对比，不知道发展了多少。
Now, people in the world are standing at the turn of the century when we are going to bring in the 21st century, and science and technology have developed significantly as compared with, for instance, the period when Newton lived.
所以我感觉到我们这个世界也应该是丰富多彩的。对于民主、人权、freedom 这许多的观念，应该是相对的，应该是具体的，由每个国家的具体情况来决定的。
And I also believe that the world we're living in is a rich and diverse one, and therefore the concepts on democracy, on human rights, and on freedoms are relative and specific ones, and they are to be determined by the specific national situation of different countries.
所以我也十分主张，对于这些问题，比如像 human rights， 我们可以在互不干涉内政的基础上，我们可以进行讨论。对于在这个世界上一般应该遵守的原则，毫无疑问，我们也是遵守。
And I'm also strongly of the view that on such issues as the human rights issue, discussions can be held on the basis of non-interference in the internal affairs of a country. And it goes without saying that as for the general rules universally abided by in the world, China also abides these rules.
我到这里来，虽然时间很短，我一方面是生活在一个非常和美国人民友谊的气氛当中，受到克林顿总统今天中午受到戈尔副总统的热情的接待，但是我同时也是不断的有 noise 从这耳朵里面进来。
My stay here in the United States is rather a brief one. There is the fact that since I came here, I have been immersed in the atmosphere of friendship from the American people, and I was also accorded warm reception from President Clinton and Vice President Gore. However, sometimes noises came into my ears.
If according to Chinese philosophy, Confucius said, 有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎。
When Confucius said, "Isn't it a pleasure to have friends coming from afar?"
当然我也了解，比如说，在美国来讲，因为它可以有各方面的意见都可以反映，这就是民主。
And naturally, I am also aware that in the United States, different views can be expressed, and this is a reflection of democracy.
所以我认为，中国的俗语叫做“百闻不如一见”，对我也是一个教育。
And therefore, I would like to quote a Chinese saying which goes, "Seeing it once is better than hearing about it 100 times." I've also got my real understanding about this during my current trip.
我想这个不会影响到我们的 approach， 不会影响到我们的接近。
However, I don't believe this will have any negative impact on our effort to approach each other.
I just have to say one other thing. First of all, The United States recognizes that on so many issues, China is on the right side of history, and we welcome it. But on this issue, we believe the policy of the government is on the wrong side of history. There is, after all, now a universal declaration of human rights.
请许我补充几句。首先，我们认识到，在许许多多问题上，中国是站在历史的正确的一面，对此我们表示欢迎。但是在这个问题上，我们认为政府的政策是在历史的错误的一边，因为究竟现在有人权的普遍宣言。
The second point I'd like to make is that I can only speak from our experience, and America has problems of its own, which I have frankly acknowledged. But in our country, I think it would amaze many of our Chinese guests to see some of the things that have been written and said about me, my family, our government, our policies. And yet, after all this time, I'm still standing here, and our country is stronger than it was before those words were uttered 6 years ago.
第二点，从美国的经验来看，我们也有我们自己的问题，我也很坦率地表示，认识到这些问题。但是在美国，我想我们中国的贵宾会感到很惊讶的一个事情，就是他们了解人们所写过的或说过的关于我的家庭、我的政府、我们的政策的一些话，但是这个他们说了这些话以后，我现在还站在这里，而且这个我们的国家比6年前他们还没有说这些话之前是更强的。
Excuse me, before those words began to be said 6 years ago, they're still being said every day.
就6年前他们还没有开始说这些话之前，但是现在人们还继续说同样的话。